Are you all ready to answer some beginner backpacking questions? Because I am. What's going on, hikers? In today's video, we're going to answer the question, how much clothes do I bring whenever I go out on trail for a backpacking or an overnight hike? If you're new to the channel, my name is Jeremiah Stringer, and here we talk about all things hiking and backpacking. So if you're into that kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep producing this content and answer those beginner backpacking questions for you. If you do subscribe, ring that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever we release new content. So for this question, you all seem to like the most recent video I did in this series of answering beginner questions, and it was about where do I sleep at whenever I'm out on trail? And if you want to check that out, you can check it out right here. But to answer this question, it's a little bit complicated, and we're going to break it down piece by piece. So let's start with which season are you backpacking in? And then we can go from there. So if you're doing 3 season and we're leaving winter outside of this, this will kind of all fall in the same group of gear unless you just know it's going to be really hot. And then you may want to lose some of these layers that we'll talk about here in just a second. So assuming that this is 3 season, maybe we can do a separate video on winter specifically. Here's what I bring. I'm not saying this is the right way. This is just the way that I do it. And you know, if you do things differently, make sure you comment them and tell me where those change-ups are. Let's talk about just hiking. So while you're out on trail, not your camp clothes, not the things that you're making sure you keep dry, but if we're hiking, I only bring 1 set of hiking clothes on every single trip that I ever take. Whether I'm through hiking or whether I'm going on one-nighter or all weekend, a long weekend, whatever. I bring 1 set of clothes. Of course, if you're through hiking, you're going to wash those clothes, but most of you are probably weekend hiking, and that's fine, but only 1 set of clothes to hike in, and those clothes consist of, for me, I always use a long sleeve synthetic shirt. Most of the time, it's a Columbia, like performance fishing gear shirt. I'll link it below if you want to check it out, if you want to purchase one too, but I wear that for the top, and then I'll wear a fleece if I'm really cold. Now, most of the time that doesn't come on until I'm at camp because you'll get hot while you're hiking. Okay, let's go to the bottom half. So the bottom half of me, if it's kind of warmer weather, I'm just wearing compression underwear or maybe some synthetic underwear. As long as it's not cotton, it's good. And I'll bring 2 pairs of those. And don't tell anybody, but I actually flip them inside out and wear them a second day. The reason why I wear 2 pairs is because, not 2 pairs at once, right? I have 2 separate pairs to wear, but the reason why I bring 2 pairs is because you don't want to get chafed. Legs are everything whenever you're backpacking, and if you're getting chafed, that's a no-go. So you want to stay real clean down there, and an extra set of underwear really helps out. So then let's talk about outside the underwear. I wear synthetic pants. Now, I just bought some cheap ones at a local store, but anything as long as they're not cotton. Like blue jeans, kind of a no-no whenever you're doing out an overnighter. And the reason why is once those get wet, they get super heavy, and of course they lose all their insulation value. So we really don't want that. Let's talk about shoes. So shoes, I wear trail runners, but you can wear whatever you want. And the socks that I put on before I put on the shoes is I've been wearing Injinji lately. Last trip I wore like the Injinji liners. It's got the little toes, individual toe parts, and then regular Injinji socks. But I also love Darn Tough, and I also love Smart Wool. For a while, Smart Wool was all that I wore, and then Darn Tough, of course, they got that awesome warranty. I wore those my entire time on the Vermont Long Trail. In Vermont, that's where Darn Tough started. So again, I'll link below if y'all want to check out the stuff I'm talking about. If I can find it, I'll throw it in there. Let's talk about camp clothes. So you've been hiking all day, and then you want to stop and you want to break everything down and actually set up camp. And I like a separate set of clothes while I'm at camp. And those clothes consist of, for the top, of course, that fleece. I like a fleece. I also like a dry shirt. Now sometimes I'll bring cotton, but most of the time I don't because we already talked about the problems with it. A lot of times just a synthetic short sleeve tee is what I'll go with. Comfortable to sleep in too, something that feels good. Then I'll bring a puffy. Now, you don't have to have the greatest of grade of any of these. A Costco puffy will probably get you through. It'll just be a little bit heavier. For a while, I was using a North Face puffy. It's like 800 feel. And then most recently, and I'm really excited about this, I bought a Mountain Hardwear puffy, the Ghost Whisperer, to try out, and it saved me a lot of weight. So haven't taken that on trail yet, but here's hoping. Now, for the bottom half of me, a lot of times I won't wear underwear at camp. And the reason why is kind of gross, but I like to air everything out, if you know what I'm saying. And I already told you, you don't want to get chafed, so that's why. And then, you know, if it's warm out, I'm going to take ball shorts, just like basketball shorts, synthetic, just a cheap pair that you can buy at Walmart or, you know, wherever's close to you. And then for pants, a lot of times I'll wear jogging pants. So unless it's going to be cold, I won't bring both. And then if it is going to be, you know, I know it's going to be a little bit more on the cool side, I will bring some men's leggings, okay? And that's basically like compression leggings that you would wear while playing basketball or something. And then also, if it's going to be frigid, you don't want to neglect the lower half of your body whenever it's cold. So you get in those cold fall days or early spring, you're out there, I will bring a pair of fleece Hanes like men's leggings, and I'll wear them over the synthetic just compression leggings. And then for socks, I always, even whenever it's warm out, bring 2 pairs of socks to wear at camp. I also bring 2 for hiking, and I alternate them, but always at camp I bring 2 pairs. Here's why. So socks, I like to do, you know, wear a sock, put a hand warmer in the other, wear it. And whenever I'm not doing that, maybe it's a little bit cold and you want to fill up some boiling hot water in a Nalgene and then put the sock around that. Or maybe you have an aluminum bottle or something that you bring that can hold boiling hot water, and you're going to throw that in your sleeping bag right before you go to bed to warm it up for you. Well, you can always stick that sock in it. Also, or stick that in your sock rather. Also, if you're not using the extra socks and it's going to be cold or you're afraid your batteries will die or something, you can use those as a stuff sack and throw those in your sleeping bag or your cell phone or whatever you want. So never even think about it, but socks are actually pretty useful for other things too. So for headwear, I like to wear a buff, and it's got a million uses. I should probably do a video on that, all the things you can use a buff for, but it's basically just a tube of fabric, and you can buy different designs, and you can buy different fabrics too. And I'll wear that oftentimes whenever it's warm out. And then if it's going to be cold, I will bring like a fleece lined wool beanie, and I sleep in that most of the time. But I hardly ever wear it while I'm out actually hiking because I get too hot. And then last but not least, I also like to bring gloves if I know it's going to be a little bit cooler. And I normally don't hike in those either because you get all sweaty. But at camp, you know, if you can get the ones that you can touch your cell phone with, or like I just cut out the fingers on mine, and then you're good to go. If you got some other beginner backpacking questions that you would like answered, or if there's something that I didn't hit on in this video, make sure you comment it below and let's spread the wealth of knowledge. Help out those beginner backpackers if you're experienced. So make sure you're commenting. If you enjoyed the video, give me one of these, subscribe to the channel, kick the bell, so you can get notified every time I release content.